Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys checking out today's video and spending some of your time with me. And guys, I got some news today I want to share with y'all about an apparent pending rule change with forward-facing sonar that Bassmaster is getting ready to announce. That's going to go way beyond the change that they made a little change last year within transducers and screen size that had zero impact on the effects of the devastating effects of forward-facing sonar. But if this rule change goes the way it probably is going to, from what I hear, this is going to be a pretty big step forward in the fight against forward-facing sonar. So I'm gonna let you guys know what I have heard about that in today's episode. Also, guys, I wanted to clue you in on a really cool bait that I've been catching some good fish on the last couple weeks, and that's this bass pattern Mega Bass Magdraft here. Now, a lot of people know that after the fish spawn, the bass guard fry, and fish are hungry, predatory, and a bass pattern, any type of a bass pattern lure works really, really good in the post-spawn time of the year. So I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description, guys, if you want to pick up a couple of these bass pattern Magdrafts. May and June are probably two of my favorite months to fish a Magdraft in. So definitely get you some good fish. And also, guys, in May or June, throw these things super shallow. You don't have to fish them out like off deeper water and points. Throw them right up on the bank. Keep them about that far into the surface and cover water with them. Definitely get you some good fish. Tackle Warehouse link in the description there. Okay, guys, here's what's going on here. Let me preface this by saying this is rumor at this point, but I don't make a habit in my videos about spreading rumors. I don't, before I do any video, I've got to have some pretty solid source, multiple backed up sources that verify the information that I talk about. So this isn't just some wild speculation you're seeing on the internet or something, or on Facebook. This is something that's come from multiple bass pros, multiple people within the industry, that Bassmaster next year is going to institute a rule where 50% of the tournaments are going to be no forward-facing sonar, and 50% of the tournaments are going to allow forward-facing sonar. Now, this has been tossed around a little bit over the past couple of years, and I think Bassmaster pretty much ignored it because the anglers basically, this is what they wanted. And apparently what happened was the last couple of weeks or so, Bassmaster had a survey or had a vote amongst the Elite Series anglers about the changes they wanted to see in forward-facing sonar. And the consensus of the group was they wanted it half the time legal and half the time not legal. So let's sort of unpack everything that goes along here. First of all, I have no reason to doubt this information. Like I said, the people that have shared this with me, they're never wrong. They're always right about it. So I have about 95 or more % confidence this rule is going to take place. So, but let's sort of examine a little bit the underlying ramifications of this. First of all, I want to thank everybody on the channel here for helping me with this fight over the last couple of years, because I really believe that all you guys that watch Intuitive Angling, we have been leading the fight here against forward-facing sonar. I think that if this does come to fruition, you guys can, it's a lot of it because of you guys and voicing your opposition to forward-facing sonar on social media, pressuring Bassmaster, canceling your memberships. They feel the pressure. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect about this is when you're talking about making a rule change with forward-facing sonar, Bassmaster should not have allowed the anglers to vote on this. This should have been voted on by the Bassmaster membership. The people that watch Bassmaster television shows, anyone that is a member, that type of stuff, they're the ones that should have made this decision, because not just the pros. There shouldn't be 100 pros that set the rules for something that has such a massive impact on our industry. It should be, the constituents and the people that view the videos and buy the products. That's my opinion on that. But anyway, let's talk about this scenario if this does happen, which, like I said, I've got no reason to doubt that it won't happen. First of all, it is a step forward. I'll give them that. If they go through with this, it is something positive that we're going to have it in half the tournaments. But it is a baby step in the right direction, and it's nothing more than a half measure. until we can get forward-facing sonar completely banned from the tournaments, 100% banned from the tournaments, we're never going to let up on it, because it's the destruction and the negativity and the potential catastrophic consequences of this type of technology and the advancing technologies. You can't deny the reality of that. So, even though this could be this is probably going to be a positive thing, it's not going to be the end of the road here. A couple of different things here I want to remind you all of is, you guys remember, I had a friend of mine tell me about this today. You guys remember the AquaView camera? Well, the AquaView camera's been around a long time, where it puts, you can see a camera underwater, you can see fish underwater. Bassmaster bans that in tournament competition. So why is it that forward-facing sonar, which is live imaging technology, basically the same thing as AquaView, why is it legal? That's because AquaView didn't have the billions of dollars like these electronic companies do to influence agendas. That's one reason with that. And also, there's another rumor I heard, guys, and again, this is a rumor, but like I said, I don't spread rumors unless they're backed up by fact. Apparently, Garmin and some other electronic companies had got wind that they were going to vote on this particular situation. And apparently what they did is they strong-armed and they told their pro staff members, if you vote, to get rid of forward-facing sonar, you're going to be freaking gone from our pro staff. That is speculation again, but again, it's speculation that's backed up by multiple sources there. So we've got this complex dynamic that's surrounding this whole particular issue. But the main thing with it is, if this goes through and they do ban forward-facing sonar in half of the tournaments, it's still not going to have that big of an impact, because what you have as far as on the Elite Series next year. So what you're going to have is, next year, if they do it 50-50, you're going to have half of the anglers out there that, are going to dominate during the forward-facing sonar tournaments. And then Bassmaster, the way that they have structured the qualification for the Elite Series, every single year they're bringing up a bigger and bigger crop of younger anglers that forward-facing sonar is their entire game. So you don't have that many traditional bass fishing professionals on the Elite Series anymore that are true hammers. You've got a handful of them. So in my opinion, what's going to happen is, since the roster of Bassmaster Elite Series tournament now is basically comprised of young forward-facing sonar, users, that is their game, when they do have to rely on regular bass fishing skills, the overall competition in the Elite Series has been watered down and is so weak in the areas of traditional bass fishing skills that it's not going to make that big of a difference, because they're all going to be weak at those techniques. There's going to be, there'll be a handful of guys out there like John Cox and Greg Hackney that absolutely destroy the forward-facing sonar units during the forward-facing sonar tournaments. But overall, it's not like you have a field of Greg Hackneys. 15 years ago, guys, you had the Elite Series and the Bassmaster Top 150s were comprised of 100 Greg Hackneys and John Coxes. So they were all expert tacticians at real traditional bass fishing skills. But now, like I said, the skill level amongst the traditional bass fishing anglers out there have been weakened so much that I don't think this is going to have much of an effect as far as allowing the true talented bass anglers to rise to the top. If you create a scenario where you still have forward-facing sonar legal in half the tournaments, you're still not getting an accurate representation of the best anglers in the world. The best anglers in the world should not have to rely on technology to show them where their fish at. They shouldn't at all. And what this is going to do with this new rule change, it's going to still allow half of the season for these guys to have electronic technology show them where to fish and how to cast to the fish. And that's not acceptable. It's completely unacceptable. So until we get it completely banned from the tournaments, it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. But this, again, it is a step in the right direction. I don't really understand the motives, because you're never going to hear the real story from Bassmaster. Everything that we talk about here, guys, the only truth that you're really going to hear is from the anglers that leak this information out, the Bassmaster Elite Series anglers. But don't expect to get any transparency from the tournament organization with it. So Anyway, guys, stay tuned. We'll see what happens with this thing. Just wanted to throw that out there, before you hear about it anywhere else. Again, like I said, I don't make a habit of doing videos just off of speculation and pure rumor. I've had, over the last 3 or 4 days, I've had enough people that I trust within this industry that have come from different aspects of the industry tell me the same thing on this, that it's more than likely going to happen. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about it. We'll talk later.